So first of all, I just want to say that creating a YouTube video is really hard. So I am a former English middle school teacher, and I can stand up in front of a classroom full of 13-year-olds no problem and give a full lecture or lesson or whatever it is without feeling nervous at all. And yet sitting in front of a camera alone in my room talking has been one of the most difficult things, but I am going to try my best and I am not going to give up. Hi, my name is Moana. This is Spiky, and welcome to our very first YouTube video. Yay! Spiky, say yay! Okay, so a little bit of background on me and why I'm starting a booktube channel. So ever since I was a little kid, I always loved reading and writing, and everywhere I went, I always had a book in hand. There were even times when I would get scolded for trying to read too much. But to me, it was just so much fun, like discovering this whole new world, this whole new life, all in a book. And so there were even times, like I remember I had to go shower and I was really caught up and engrossed in this book that I was reading, and I actually like taped all the pages to our shower glass door just so that I can continue reading even while I'm showering. I mean, that's how into reading I was. And I also really loved writing as well. I was constantly writing these short stories and just for fun, giving them out to even my teachers or sometimes my family members and my friends. And so those were all things that I just really had such a great passion for. And so the strange thing is that because I love to read and write, you would think that I would really love English class, but that was actually one of my least favorite subjects when I was in school. And then when it was time for me to apply for my undergrad for college, I wrote in my admissions essay that I wanted to be able to inspire young students to really be, create that same kind of passion and that same joy that I had in reading and writing, if not even more so. And so very naive me, I thought that if I became an English teacher in a public school, then I would be someone different and I can really inspire these students, and it would just be a different experience for them compared to what I had when I was going through school. Again, very naive. But actually I found that not only were they not enjoying English class, I don't know, that's what it kind of seemed like. It's really hard to tell. But sometimes I felt like maybe they were just really bored, but I was really bored as well. So even as a teacher who was trying to get them to learn all of these things and love reading and writing, even I was really struggling on a day-to-day basis to really love being there and going through this whole school curriculum as well. So for a really long time, after I graduated from college, not just after I taught, but for a long time as an adult, I really had a difficult time reading and writing just for fun. I don't know if I was just so busy and there were so many other better things to do, or I don't know, but I stopped doing it for a long time. I don't know if maybe you can relate. It sounds like a lot of people might feel the same way, like it's really hard to find the time to read for pleasure once you become an adult. But I actually recently picked it up, started reading again, and I actually found, I think I'm redeveloping that passion and that excitement again that I used to have when I was a kid. And it wasn't until recently actually that I remember what it feels like to not want to put a book down. Like, you have other things that you need to do, but you're so engrossed in the story and you're so invested in the characters that you just want to be able to, just continue and see the story all the way until the end. I just had that feeling again recently, and I feel like I haven't had that in a while, and I was super excited about it. And so I love being able to go on YouTube and see all these other amazing booktubers talking about the books that they love reading and why they enjoyed certain stories and certain characters. And so I really wanted to be a part of that. I think a part of it too is that when I became a teacher, I thought that I'll be having these really wonderful, great conversations with the students about the things that we are reading. And I think to a certain extent, we kind of did, but I think I learned a lot about maybe how, at least the school system that I was teaching in, no fault to the teachers, I think everybody was really trying to do their best, but I feel like the way that the system was set up, it kind of didn't really create that kind of excitement and passion in students where they really want to have these wonderful discussions about the stories that we are reading. And it wasn't like they were excited to have to write essays or poems for class, and I can kind of understand. So anyway, I wanted to create this YouTube channel to document, my thoughts, almost like a video diary, to go back to why is it maybe that school isn't so exciting and fun for people who love to read and write, even though you might think that it should be a wonderful place for them. And also, I really wanted to go through this journey of rekindling my love for reading and writing. For example, one of the things that I noticed is that I really don't like poetry, but I'm starting to think that it's not that I don't like it. I think it's just that I don't get it. And it's not because I naturally don't get it. I think it's just more like I never learned how to appreciate poetry. Like sometimes when I look at a poem, it just looks like a jumble of words on a paper. Almost like, to me, almost as pretentious as like you know how there's that running joke about modern art where people just like splash paint on a canvas and it means nothing, but to the artist it might mean, this whole philosophical view on life. Sometimes I kind of look at poetry in that sort of way. I just have a really difficult time understanding it. And again, no shade or no hate to modern art. I think I just have a difficult time understanding it just because maybe I haven't learned enough about how to appreciate it. And so that's one of the things that I really want to dive into deeper, really how to appreciate poetry or how to appreciate any kind of writing, really. I grew up loving mystery stories like Nancy Drew, or I used to love, I don't know if you remember like the Babysitter's Club. I don't see that around anymore, but that was a huge series when I was in elementary school. And then things like Beverly Cleary books. When I was also in elementary school, I used to love reading Ramona Quimby. So stories like that about people that I could kind of relate to, usually about girls who were my age. And then as I got older, when I was in middle and high school, I loved reading maybe teenage romance stories. And then in school, I feel like we were always forced to read these really difficult classics that I couldn't understand what was going on at all. And I was thinking that I want to go back to them now as an adult. I think now, hopefully I am wiser now that I'm older. Maybe I'll be able to see all of these books in a different perspective. And so I'm really excited to embark on this journey together with you. I'm going to try to read the original Shakespeare without the modern day translation to hopefully understand what my students were going through, because as a middle school English teacher, my students were part of our curriculum. They had to read A Midsummer Night's Dream from Shakespeare. And so in class all together, we would read the Shakespeare text. On the other side, it actually had the translation. We did give them the translated side-by-side version of the novel. And then when we finished the book, of course we had our activities in between to check for comprehension. And when we finally finished the story, the students in groups actually had to act out certain portions of the play. And hopefully they understood it enough to be able to give it a pretty convincing rendition of what the story is about in their acting. To be honest, I feel kind of bad because now when I look back, I get the feeling that most of my students probably didn't understand what the play really was about, and they were probably just going through the motions, reading through the lines. I think they did enjoy putting on the play and attempting to act. Maybe just, the act of acting itself. I know that sounds really strange, but I feel like as far as the story goes, I don't really know if they really understood it. And even I struggle still to understand it, even though I've taught it for several years. I did have to do a lot of research on its background, as well as the background of Shakespeare, to kind of get a better understanding of what it's all about and what the significance is. But even then, I feel like it still confuses me as to why Shakespeare is considered required reading for people who are in school. When I was in college, one of my English professors at that time, he explained that the reason why high school students are required to read Romeo and Juliet is because Romeo and Juliet is a romance, And most likely, if you ask a high school student what is one of the number one concerns on their mind, at that age, usually it's about who they have a crush on and who they're in love with. And when you listen in on the kind of conversations they might be having with their peers, I mean, of course, this might not be the only thing that they're talking about, but even for me, looking back, I remember like, oh yeah, whoever I had a crush on, that really was a huge, big thing that was always on my mind. And it's just a part of being at that age, I think. And so I think a lot of people in academia think that it's a great way to introduce Shakespeare to these young people, because they feel like that theme of love and romance is something that these young people can relate to. And I remember when we were reading through it in high school, my high school teacher at that time, she was explaining, so in the beginning of the story, Romeo is heartsick and in love with this woman named Rosalind. But then he sees Juliet, and all of a sudden he's completely head over heels in love with her. And so our high school teacher, she was trying to explain to us that it's a reflection of this idea that we often confuse love and lust. Like, Romeo thinks that he's in love, but then how can he be in love if the moment that he sees Juliet, he completely forgets about Rosalind and instead he's in love with Juliet? So is that really love, or is that lust? I think that's something that as adults, it's an interesting topic to think about and talk about. And even for adults, I think it's really difficult to define the difference between love and lust. But to expect like a bunch of high school students to be able to understand that, looking back now, I kind of think, I don't know if I just wasn't as emotionally mature, or maybe my classmates weren't, but I feel like we completely missed the boat on that one and really did not understand at all what my teacher was trying to say. Like, I don't think I even knew, like, is there a difference? Really looking back, I feel like I don't even know what lust was. And maybe, I don't think I could have even discerned the difference between that and love, because every single person you have a crush on, yes, I'm in love, and the world is over if I can't be with this person. When I was in high school, one of the books that we were forced to read was Romeo and Juliet. Now, I feel like students are so lucky. They have these books where they have almost like the modern day translation side by side together with the original Shakespeare text. And so we didn't have that when I was in high school, so we had to read the original Shakespeare text. No translation, no modern context, so it was so difficult for me to understand what was going on. And so I was kind of thinking about rereading that book just to see if things would be different for me reading it now, many decades later. But to be honest, I felt like it was kind of cheating. Like, it's not going to be the same experience as it was reading it for the first time, because after watching so many movies, and I'm pretty sure so many of us already know the context of Romeo and Juliet. Maybe even if you haven't read it in depth, it's such a prevalent story in society that I feel like we pretty much know what it's about. So maybe it wouldn't be the same. So instead, to kind of give myself like that experience again of reading something that would have been required reading when I was in high school, to give myself that experience that's similar to that, instead I chose Shakespeare's Macbeth. From what I understand, of course, Shakespeare is known as one of the greatest playwrights of history, and he has written about so many different subjects that are very universal to all human beings, such as human relationships and happiness and love and anger and jealousy. And so that's the reason why he's considered such a great writer that we should all know about, and we can all learn about these enduring ideas from him. But I really don't know if it's appropriate, I guess, or if it's really the best writing for middle school and high school students to read. And so I don't know if you would agree on that. Let me know in the comments. Did you have to read Shakespeare growing up? Did you understand it, and did you really think that it was a worthwhile time having to understand this way of writing that he had? For me, I just kind of feel like at that age, there's so much that students are trying to learn and trying to grasp, that I kind of think that, I don't know, I'm not trying to dumb them down, but I really felt like it was a little advanced. Not even a little advanced, it was actually really advanced. And so now that I'm going to be trying to read Macbeth, it's going to be a really interesting experience to see if it's different reading it many decades later as an adult, reading Shakespeare many decades later. And so I'm super excited to share with you my experience here on my YouTube channel, starting off with that novel. Another reason why I wanted to create my booktube channel was as my way of contributing to the booktube community. Such a wonderful community that I love being a part of, you know, together with other creators as well as people who love watching booktube. And so I would love to hear from you. What was your experience going through school? Did you love or hate your English class, and what kind of books were you required to read, and did you love or did you hate reading them? I would really love to hear more. And so with that, if this sounds like something that you're interested in, please make sure that you like this video and subscribe to my channel. For my next video, like I shared, I'm going to be reading through Macbeth and sharing my thoughts on it. I want to read through the play, and then I also want to hopefully watch a movie on Macbeth. I'm sure there are several, and give my thoughts on it. And so I would love to hear back from you. So again, so let me know. Hopefully you like what I'm sharing, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.